Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Infinity Saga. This is your one and only spoiler warning for any of the movies in the saga. If you have a strong desire to see any of the movies before hearing about them from two regular Dans, turn this off now and go watch those amazing pieces of cinema. Then come back here and listen to our take, because we have a lot of interesting takes. We always discuss the current movie, but the stories here are so interwoven it's almost impossible not to talk about the future movies in the franchise. So, again, this is your one and only spoiler warning for any of the movies in the Infinity Saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is also your one and only adults-only content warning. Our aim is never to offend or alienate, and everything we say should be taken with a grain of salt. Please refrain from taking offense to our comedy. We're just here to discuss the current movie and have fun. Enjoy.
Quick, I'm gonna
Testulate,
just talk. Yeah, just speak a little bit like this.
I'm sitting normally.
I'm gonna speak over here
in my normal
and just look over here and look at my notes and then look at you so I can make eye contact.
I will eventually become a humpback
and then
I have this posture.
I'll look
for the
like
rest
this
of my life.
and I'll look at the screen and then Dan's talking about humpback whales. Hello, Dan.
Hey, how's it going, Dan?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad.
That's great. You know what time it is? It's discussing Dan's time.
Dan.
We're gonna be discussing things, and we're both named Dan.
That's how it works.
This is Entertainment and You, how pop culture shapes your world. Our mission statement is to keep a vague and open dialogue about how science fiction has affected pop culture as viewed through the eyes of two Dans in their 30s and 40s.
And 40s.
That's right. No topic is too off topic, and no opinion is wrong. I'm not 40, just for the record. Just for the record. Today...
Nothing wrong with being 40.
We're... Nothing at all, sir. Nothing at all. Today we're on the 5th movie in our Infinity Saga. This is the 6th movie.
That's right.
This one is a all-around favorite called The Avengers.
Ties them all together.
That's right.
Them all together where they all meet.
It was directed by our great friend director. He's not a friend, but I hope one day maybe. Joss Whedon.
Yeah, man, I'd meet him.
Hell yeah. It came out in 2012, the year that the Mayans said would end.
Which I was a big believer in. No, I'm just kidding. I
100%.
was not a big believer. But I do like the Mayans. I believe in the Mayans.
I believe that they were
They were
real.
really good at math.
They were really good at figuring
Except
out
for
a
the
lot
2012 thing.
Yeah, they kind of fudged the numbers on that one. But we opened the movie with Thanos, actually.
Oh.
A nod to Thanos. They're talking about the Tesseract. You don't actually see him.
Right.
But
you get the stairway to heaven there.
Yeah, he's definitely talking to a throne and some ominous mentions about the Tesseract. So, mentioned in Captain America, now mentioned again. This is the movie following Captain America, so...
You know, I want to mention another thing about the intro to this Avengers movie. It gets right into the action, and there's not like a whole 3-minute Spider-Man intro that you see, like the ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. It gets right into it. Mm-hmm. And there's actually just a scene that comes up later. It's like a second. It says the Avengers on screen.
Oh, yeah.
And then they continue on to the rest of the show. They got a lot of story to tell.
Yep, there's a lot to push through and a lot of characters that maybe you hadn't seen the other movies, so they have a lot of exposition to get you through.
Yeah. I really liked it. Yeah, I really liked it. I appreciated it.
And a lot of subtle background, they're at the very beginning, there's people hustling out of some sort of facility, and you're not really sure what's going on, and then...
You get the big shield symbols all over the place.
And Coulson and Nick Fury right off the bat, so you already know that some shit has been...
Hell yeah, something serious is happening,
Something's going down, yeah.
So they arrive at big shield facility. They see the Hill. What's her first name?
Miranda,
that's right.
Yeah, Miranda Hill.
Miranda Hill. They greet him and take him down to an emergency issue with the Tesseract. She's misbehaving, says
Papa Skarsgård.
Papa Skarsgård, right.
What's his name? Selvig?
That's
Eric
right.
Selvig
That's right.
in the movie, yeah. So there's something going on. They're not sure, and he thinks it's gamma radiation, and Nick Fury makes the cool reference. He's like, it's gamma radiation. It's harmless. He's like,
well, that could be harmful. Yeah. It was great. I also love that it's like S.H.I.E.L.D. is the good guys. We're all supposed to believe that S.H.I.E.L.D.'s the great guys, but they're mysteriously investigating this mysterious object to try to steal infinite energy from outer space. It's just a weird.
What's phase 2?
Yeah. I think it's weird they used all the phase terminology inside the movies while also outside the movies. Like, this is literally phase 2 of Marvel movies.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's phase 2? Oh, it's a plot to make a shitload of money off of a great franchise that everybody seems to love.
Right? So they're investigating. They have a big facility investigating the Tesseract. And, of course, Fury asks for, where's Barton?
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's up in his nest, as usual.
That's right, because he's a big tie to a bird. He's huge ties to the
Hawkeye. So they clearly definitely play on the name. Oh yeah,
he was bitten by a radioactive hawk.
That's right. Little known story. Scratched in his eyes by a radioactive hawk. Now he can see a million miles. Thinks only in.
And he always likes to see from high.
Yep.
That's his eye.
Like a bird of prey.
Yeah. He molds his life after the hawk.
And he uses his eyes to find the enemy in the situation.
Yeah. I mean, okay, he's not Thor, the god of thunder, or Iron Man, the guy who wraps a suit around him. He's just a guy who's got a good eye.
Yeah, he's got good on you. Good eye. He's got a good eye. But it's definitely they're bringing him back from Thor. So you're getting a quick introduction of. Basically, in my opinion, other than Iron Man 2, Nick Fury's been kind of in the background. So you're getting like a really huge introduction to a lot of characters we've met previously and maybe not expanded upon, and you're getting more awesome Nick Fury. And I made a note about it for later, but I'll bring it up now since we're talking about it. Is it just me, or does most of his dialogue in this movie seem like he's already 5 steps ahead of everyone? Like, every back and forth quip conversation that Nick Fury has with someone, it seems like he already knows what's going on.
I had a thought about that, about the general lines in this movie. I didn't know I didn't know exactly how to attribute it. I felt like it was maybe they're trying to emulate the things people say in the speech bubbles in comics, but yeah, they do talk. Not in a way that is back and forth, but they're saying much more than just the sentence they say.
Like they're alluding to a larger universe, all the time.
Yeah. That's I think that's actually good writing. I mean,
I loved it.
It works for both the direct conversation and larger instances later.
The line I'm thinking of specifically, and we are jumping way ahead in the plot of the movie, but when he says he's talking about Loki with Thor, and he's like, well then why do I feel like he's the only motherfucker that wants to be on this ship?
Right.
He doesn't say motherfucker,
but
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
So.
Well, agreed. Because he's thinking ahead. And that's Nick Fury's kind of whole thing, is he's supposed to be somewhat 3 steps ahead on the intel.
Yeah.
That's his superpower as a human Batman would be.
Super awesome intelligence.
But back to the intro, one of the things that I'm still unsure of is, okay, they have the Tesseract, the Space Stone, in S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, and Hawkeye mentions, okay, it's misbehaving, maybe it's not this side of the door, but the other side of the door. Okay, that's interesting that there's another side of the door that can influence the stone. How is the other side, the Chitauri, Thanos, whoever,
I never thought about that.
Altering that stone to make it open a portal to make Loki appear?
Is there like a big door knocker on their side?
I don't know.
Gone.
Yeah. I don't know. You have to be holding the thing, as I understand it, to be able to use it.
And they also have it in some kind of device that seems to... And Loki even seems to use part of their technology to come through the portal. So what do they have on their side?
I'm not sure. I mean, they introduced the movie. I think it opens up saying with that old two-thumbed guy, the Chitauri two-thumbed guy.
What the fuck is that about?
There's reasons you would evolve two thumbs. You don't want to know. No, but they introed it. They said the Space Stone or the Tesseract, I think they call it the Tesseract, has, or maybe they said the gem or a gem has been awakened on Earth.
Yeah.
So I think that's indicating, well, you would think that it would be the Red Skull's interaction with the Space Stone when he found it in Odin's throne. But no, it wasn't that. It was when S.H.I.E.L.D. is messing with it, is when it was really brought up to the Chitauri, apparently. And Thanos, who are monitoring the stones. If they could monitor the stones,
why didn't he just go fucking get them?
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm very curious about it, but whatever. I'll suspend the disbelief or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie's great. That's just a question I have. I don't exactly understand the whole. I understand the ultimate outcome was that they teleported Loki into the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters where the Space Stone is.
Yeah.
That's the result. And he had a stone on him.
In the scepter.
Scepter. It's a different stone.
The Mind Stone.
The Mind Stone.
Which I didn't think about actually until rewatching it. I mean, I rewatching it a couple years ago after seeing like Vision and all and that shit, and I was like, oh yeah, they made Vision from the Mind Stone, which came out of the scepter. So Mind Stone, and then in the beginning of this movie, Papa Skarsgård and Barton both get mind controlled by Loki.
Using the Mind Scepter.
Yeah, doesn't use the little scepter. I was like, oh yeah. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So with the Mind Stone, I don't know. Maybe Loki. Actually, to be honest, if Thor knows at least a little bit about the stones, about the Infinity Gems, then Loki probably knows a lot more about them. And if Loki knew that he was coming in contact with the Mind Stone, I bet you he would be able to use that to a lot greater effect than a club or just a brainwashing tool.
Yeah.
He uses it as a club very effectively later, but I mean...
Well, yeah, it's true, and he shoots with it.
Yeah.
It was given to him by Thanos, so maybe he...
Doesn't know much. I mean,
maybe he gave it to him like training wheels style. He didn't want him to have the power that... He didn't want him to know the power that he could wield.
I would buy that. I'd buy that because the Mind Stone is a yellow gem, and for some reason it's presented in the scepter as a blue glowy crystal.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. And then in what is that? Not Civil War, Ultron. They take it out and it's yellow in his head. Which, cool.
But what does it have to do with that blue colored scepter?
Yeah. So yeah, maybe it was a disguise.
Yeah. All right. So Loki arrives, and I gotta say, Loki's great as a villain right away.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tom Hiddleston makes arrogance seem so easy,
I know it just drips off of him without any effort.
Yeah, the
only time I don't like him is when he's like overexerting himself with anger, because it doesn't drip off of him as well as arrogance does.
Like when he yells Neil.
Yeah, Neil. Yeah, or when he's like...
It's a little softer because I think Tom is just a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, you are all beneath me, you dull creature. Yeah. It's a bad look for you, Tom.
Well, maybe it's too hard.
And how the fuck does Hill survive? So they're running away from the imploding, and
I did after Loki gives his speech and Hawkeye says that they're planning on burying us. He reveals
and shoots Fury in cold blood.
Oh yeah, he shoots Fury in cold blood. Agreed. I want to bring this up as Hawkeye and Loki were escaping the facility. Hawkeye mainly is only using a pistol. He used a pistol to shoot Fury, and then when he got to the Humvee and Hill was passing by him, Hill was like, got some, said like, "How you doing, Hill?" And they said something as they passed, and then she heard on the radio from Fury that Hawkeye's gone.
He's compromised.
Compromised.
Yeah.
Then Barton quickly turns on Hill and shoots at least a couple times. None of them land, but Hawkeye, I think, like similar to Bullseye, he's supposed to not miss with any projectile. But it was with a pistol and not a bow and arrow, so maybe...
Well, I imagine if you're good with a bow and arrow, you're probably a good marksman with a pistol, too. So maybe that's him on the inside protecting...
Maybe.
Like how Skarsgård I knew that I was doing something bad, so I left a failsafe to destroy
Right, and he shoots, of course, Fury in cold blood, but Fury survives, and it's because
He had
of
a vest,
of course,
so he shoots him in the chest.
Right. So I mean, maybe that is Hawkeye, but of course, yeah. Maybe that is Hawkeye.
It could be. I mean,
and here's the second long Avengers intro. That's it. That's all. That's all the time intro you
right
need.
after they resolve the imploding shield facility, they go the Avengers, and then it's train tracks, and we're looking for Natasha. Russia.
My god,
that scene was so great. I got a couple notes about that.
Yeah, right.
Because this scene is so good. She's being interrogated by some, I imagine, old Cold War veteran, like maybe, I don't think they're talking about weapons or something.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it, Russian guard A gets a phone call from Coulson.
Yeah.
And the brigadier general gets on the phone. Yeah. He's like, I have you at this address. We could F-22 Raptor can sink that whole block in 5 seconds. Like, don't fuck around. Put her on the phone.
You know what I'm amazed at? I mean, you're right. This scene is wonderful. What I'm amazed at is after that, why they didn't say we need a Black Widow movie right now.
Yeah, I know.
I don't understand. I mean, I'm glad in 2020 we're gonna get one.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, but I have no idea why that did not spark the traction that it should have gotten.
They didn't have Black Widow toys in 2012, so yeah. But funny thing, or another note I made about this scene was when they show Coulson describing Natasha, they show a clip, I think it's here, but they show a little clip in the background of somebody watching like footage of Natasha and Barton together. And they show him and her side by side. He's shooting arrows and she's shooting pistols, probably from a prior engagement. But I was just like, oh, cool. So they have footage of them like working together.
Huh?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Because they reached out to them at the same time, right? According to the MCU, I also feel like they did. It's hard to tell.
We know that Barton was working. I mean, the first time we see Barton is he was working with Coulson on the Thor project.
Yeah.
And the first time we see Natasha was he was working with Coulson, kind of undercover, low key.
For Stark.
Yeah. Figuring out how Tony Stark is. It's basically, she was doing some spy work, figuring out, getting inside his organization.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? I'm working right now. This guy's giving me everything. And he's like, no, I'm not giving you everything.
Scarlett Johansson is I mean, I'm super impressed with her merely in the MCU, but I've recently been watching her movies with her outside. I've watched like her. She's just fantastic.
Did you see her on Hot Ones?
Oh my gosh, I don't know that I did.
Yeah, she's really good. She's like intimidating, charming.
I gotta see that now.
Yeah, she's really cool. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Hot Ones. I love Hot Ones. Hot Ones. If you're, you know what, you could sponsor us.
Yeah, let's.
I know you're looking for sponsors, but you're.
I love your
now.
channel. I actually on the way here
fan.
I watched Halsey, which is the most recent episode.
Oh yeah.
And before that,
Hot
it was,
Ones. I'm sure you're listening.
Will Ferrell was on it last time.
I did see him. You know what? It was noticeable that he was off his game because Dreyfuss was supposed to be there but wasn't, and so he was kind of, I don't know. He seemed to just be answering questions as needed, but not giving his extra Will Ferrellness.
Yeah, I think it's because Dreyfuss wasn't there.
Yeah,
like you said.
Yeah.
She wimped out. Sick. Anyway. So then they after they introduce our superheroes or non-superpower superheroes.
Yeah.
We then get introduced to our new Hulk, as played by Mr. Mark Ruffalo, who's really young in this.
And
he's got a lot more salt and pepper now.
Yeah. And I like how they get to him as a bleeding heart little child complaining about his sick mother with a fistful of cash.
Please.
Just
Holding cash.
Yeah.
He follows her, and I like he plays a good aware that he needs to be sneaky guy in this movie. There's plenty of scenes where they deliberately show him like looking away when there's guards on the Avengers ship, or
that
hiding away when he's on the deck of the ship.
He's uncomfortable around a lot of things. He's nervous. Which, I think that is a thing that they do in this movie with Mr. Banner to add tension, but they both say that he's got a secret and that he's got a way of controlling it. It's been a year since he's had an incident, and they don't know his secret, and that and then this scene with Romanoff finding him and asking him to come in, and stop lying to me when he does that, and
oh my god, I love that.
Click, she just instantly reacts with the gun.
I made a note about that. The fear on her face.
Oh my gosh,
is like sheer panic.
The speed in which that's triggered freaking military response. It's just a real good expression of how serious this situation can be if this
exploded. You came alone? Yeah. Uh-huh. You came alone, right? But her face, drawing the gun so quickly under the
But again, getting back to Scarlett Johansson being so good, she's just brilliant. How she's she'll shyly say, "I'll persuade you," as her method of being sure that you're going to.
What if I don't go with you? I'll persuade you.
Right? It's just so
that could
disarming.
That could mean maybe sexy time, or knowing her, it could mean I'll break your fucking legs.
Right. But it's saying all that. But it's in such a charming way. It's just, it's like butter on your toast. It's oh, okay, I'll be whatever you want to do.
Butter on your burnt toast.
Yeah. It's just exactly what you want.
I also made a note about, so when she tells him about the Tesseract and it's an energy crisis, yada yada yada. She puts, so they're standing apart from each other. She approaches a table. Approaches Mark C, whatever in that scene, and she puts the phone down on the table that he's not close to and slides it across the table.
Right.
In my opinion, unnecessarily. Just what? I mean, I get it. She was probably she was getting close to the gun. Yeah. Ultimately, that was the scene, the payoff of the scene. Yeah. She was getting close to the gun, but don't put the phone down and slide it over there like he's like you're some kind of I don't know. It just seemed unnecessary,
not fitting. But
have them sit down in a more natural fashion, other than putting the phone down and sliding across the table where you should be sitting now. No, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's
nitpicking.
What I'm saying is that I agree. I see what you're saying, but I mean, I think what they're taking from the Banner character and adding to this story is tension.
Yeah, true.
That is, the tension that the monster can't explode, and they both get that in the movie, and then later when the situation really drops, he says, I'm always angry.
Yeah.
And then he's just Hulk in a somewhat controllable state, which is not what we've experienced.
Yeah, and twice in the movie, which is not what we've experienced.
Right.
One time way more extreme than the other.
Exactly. Yeah. The time he turns into the Hulk before that is on the helicarrier, and he is not cool.
Yeah. No. That's I mean, speaking of good emoting and good actors, Mark Ruffalo, and that's definitely him because they use the mocap and shit. When he's looking at her, when he says your life, and then she's like, we're gonna be okay, and then he looks back at her before he turns the Hulk. Again, the fear, but this time tragic fear.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So fucking scary.
Well, what I'm saying is that they had their cake and ate it too, or whatever. With the Hulk thing, he is both an uncontrollable beast, but then when it needed be, decided to, he just was able to be controlled.
He could. They're partners now. He can.
Right.
I don't communicate.
Right.
Almost. Yeah.
Well, Well, it was even vague after that because
he couldn't. And
because
Ragnarok.
in Thor Ragnarok, they had to send him away.
Yeah.
So he's still not in control. But for this battle, this Avengers battle in New York, when he
awesome.
was in control.
Yeah.
Well, relatively, he wasn't he still punched Thor.
And he saved Tony.
Comically. But yeah, he saved Tony. That was
That's what made me realize. Oh, okay. So there is
Will.
maybe not Bruce controlling, but the Hulk is
Playing on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still an uncontrollable rage monster. But, for now, he's on our side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the other thing that I noticed about the Banner and Widow scene is Banner knew Shield, and she mentions to him that they had maybe protected him once or twice. She made allusions to that, which I thought that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just bringing it all together.
Captain America, how they bringing him back in the fold. I kind of like he approaches him and I guess Captain America, Steve Rogers, has just been working out in a gym.
Yeah. For the last X days.
Yeah, just beating the crap out of punching bags.
Yeah.
And carrying them around like they're, I don't know.
I don't know. A sledgehammer.
Yeah, nothing.
Throwing them over your shoulder like it's nothing.
It's crazy.
Beefcake.
One of the things I will say about this movie that's another fantastic thing is none of the characters compromise. On their
principles. Yeah.
On their character. There's, like Captain America is always a man at a time feeling out of place in the year 2016.
Yeah.
Iron Man is always a guy who's thinking about himself and 9 steps ahead and is kind of barely in the conversation right now, but still, talking over people.
Yeah.
And Thor is still concerned mainly about his other things and loosely about protecting Midgard or Earth,
Yeah.
And that's why I think when they first introduced them, their chemistry isn't great.
No.
And they don't mesh. I love it.
You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play.
Right.
Just lay on the wire, let the other guy crawl over you. I think I would just cut the wire.
I'm trying.
I know. Always a way out. Yeah, dude, that whole interaction, like...
Right?
Yeah. And then when you think about the payoff at the end, like... he was wrong. Steve, you're not just what was in a bottle, man. There's so much more than that. Yeah, that whole, yeah. Coming back and watching through it, it's like this. It all means so much more because you know the payoff.
So, Tony Stark, they talked about green energy and how he set up his arc reactor to power his Stark Tower.
Yeah, what was he doing in the... Sorry, go ahead.
He was, I think, rerouting power
in
is
the
what
bay?
I'm guessing.
He was like preventing power from going to his building specifically or something? Because that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, he cut through a cable and he put his own interface in. Maybe it's just, I'd imagine it's just to monitor, to be honest, because he's not injecting power at that point, but he's adding a device into a cable.
Yeah.
So it's probably just monitoring. This is a guess. I don't know. I don't know where the arc reactor is.
It was a cool way to introduce them because they show all of them so far, and then they show Cap like punching bags, and then
I want to get ahead.
And then Iron Man underwater doing some cool technology shit. And dude, before you skip ahead, since we're doing a playback, was the director obsessed with Gwyneth Paltrow in this movie or what?
With the jeans?
Because the Daisy Dukes and the extended walking away scene seemed to be a little too much.
But you know what I thought? I think it really is what they're trying to do is reflect that Tony Stark appreciates a pretty lady. I think that rather than that drawing attention on Pepper Potts, what they're saying is that the character of Tony Stark is about returning to his castle and having a fancy, beautiful woman.
With his queen.
Yeah, with his queen. Yeah, I think it's just, I mean, and it's not that the Pepper Potts doesn't bring up legitimate conversation and then also refers to Phil Coulson as Phil.
Yeah, a friend. And his first name is Agent.
So she's definitely involved with his life and his goings-ons, but the jean shorts, I can only imagine that was an adornment for Tony.
Yeah.
And
at his request.
Well, maybe not at his request, but maybe something that Pepper Potts would intuit that he would appreciate.
All right, I could appreciate that.
But
That makes sense.
But that's I mean, but I know what you're saying. I felt it kind of out of place, but then that's what I labeled it as more of an introduction to Tony Stark because they do introduce Thor, Tony Stark,
Yeah.
and Steve Rogers.
Well, Thor's not until much later, but you're right. He's still as like when he's talking with Loki, it's like they're giving exposition. Their hierarchy. Yeah, I got you.
Hawkeye and Black Widow are support.
Yes,
and those three are the
heavy hitters.
Main what you consider protagonists. What you can of the Avengers. I mean, the main protagonists. Yeah.
So they after he mind controls Papa Skarsgård and Barton. There's a lot to cover in this movie. I made a shitload of notes.
There's so much that happened. I took a lot of notes.
There is a lot that happens in this movie. So he takes them captive, and they need to infiltrate a facility to get some what are they getting? Palladium to
stabilize
the wormhole so that they can bring the Chitauri army through.
Right.
And in doing so, one of my favorite scenes is Loki lavishing in the fear of everyone as he smashes that dude on the table.
He's stealing his eye scan.
Yeah, and it seems painful based on the writhing of the man.
This is a small metaphor of what this movie got out of the Hulk. They gave their cake and ate it too, whatever the phrase is, but they showed the device having sharp points and bleeding, and spinning like it would be cutting into the iris. But when the other side represented it, shows just a scan
and an eyeball moving.
Right,
it was an eyeball moving around,
not covered in blood either. So
yeah,
I think it was for drama, and they got the payoff. It worked for me.
Yeah, I enjoyed the scene very much.
I know, me too. I love the scene, and not only did you get to see that whole the technological getting the palladium aspect of their plan being carried across, but you got to saw Loki relishing in walking amongst the small humans. And one of the things I found particularly interesting was that his cane was a blunt-ended. It's still an odd shape, but it was blunt-ended. It was just like a staff, a short staff maybe. But then when he took his dramatic clothing, which I'm very confused about whether that is the Mind Stone's power or if that's Loki the Asgardian's power.
I think I chalk that up to being Loki the Asgardian, because him and Thor both can do it on command.
Agreed. But I don't know, maybe there's because there's sounds to it. I'll say the Loki the Sorcerer Asgardian is what is causing it. But his whole outfit changes. His no hat becomes I'm wearing a helmet with gigantic horns, and the blunt staff becomes a big curved bladed weapon, which
does it?
It does.
So I know it's short and long at certain times, and most times I'm usually paying attention to the dialogue.
It has a blade when it stabs Coulson, but it has a blunt bat-like shape when it bats the guy in the scene where they steal the eye.
Oh, where he smashes him with it before he takes over the dude's eye.
But when he is walking outside amongst the Germans, I think they're in Germany.
It's Germany, yeah.
And he transforms his helmeted
evil clothing.
Yeah, into his evil clothing. The scepter also changes from the blunt edged thing that he uses as a bat against a guy earlier to a bladed weapon. But later, when Loki infiltrates the or gets agrees to get captured and goes on to the
definitely agrees to get captured
helicarrier, and gets all in Bruce Banner's head, and they're getting in an argument. Bruce Banner and they say, hey, put down the scepter. The scepter right then is bladed. It's not the blunt thing.
Huh.
So I'm very confused as to when the scepter turns bladed or not. Maybe it's not a very well thought out thing in the movie in the movie.
It does seem to change shape quite often. It's very odd, but it was practical. I didn't like it the most when it was short.
$10.
Yeah, and give him When Captain America is introduced in the movie, Nick Fury, he says a line. What does he say? He's like, "That's the strangest thing I think I've seen ever." And he says, "Well, I'll bet you $10 you're wrong." And then
he says like, "I'm pretty sure I won't be surprised. I've seen enough. I won't be surprised by anything else."
$10 says you're wrong.
Yeah.
And then later, when he's on the helicarrier, he shells out $10 and gives it to Fury. They do a lot of. Joss Whedon does a really good job of blending in really good humor and personal
humor.
Yes, just human
connection.
Yeah, and everything. That guy's playing Galaga.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't notice, but we did.
Yeah.
And then they show him playing Galaga later as the ultimate payoff.
He opens it back up, right.
So they stop him in Germany, and they have a little tussle on the way back to the helicarrier, which was basically an introduction to the three of their powers. I don't know. There's only one God, ma'am. I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Oh, man.
Captain being captain.
Yeah, right. It's so good.
You might want to sit this one out. They're basically gods. Yeah.
There's only one God. Man, I want to meet Chris Evans for that. Just, man, some people just do it so good.
Yeah, he was born for that role.
Right?
Yep.
And he was so enthusiastic about Torch. And then he was given the role of Captain America.
Which is so much better and well fitted for him.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Have you seen Snowpiercer?
I did.
Oh my God. That movie's fucking crazy. And B, he's a majestic person.
Did you see the film theory that it's a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? That'll blow your fucking mind.
Oh my, is that on YouTube?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I would, because that sounds...
It is
because Willy Wonka's pretty dark when you start to think about it.
I promise you, your mind will be blown.
All right.
And all you YouTube and all you followers,
listeners,
they're
not followers.
D&D fans. Wait, D&D copyrighted somewhere else.
No, you could say D&D. Wait, DS. Yeah, D&D. Dan's discussing.
D, triple D.
Just DD, double D. Discussing Dan's. Everybody loves double D's.
Dan's? I think that's 3D, sir.
It's not Dan's discussing Dan's because we're not talking about other Dan's.
I am very.
We could talk about like Daniel Craig or Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's lots of Dans out there. You know what?
Dan Harmon.
We're gonna shift this whole thing.
We're talking about Dan Harmon now.
All right.
But I did.
Oh, the cage.
Yeah. So Loki makes some impassioned speech at the beginning in Germany about them being ants and him being a boot.
Right.
And then when he's in the cage on the helicarrier, he's like, "This will drop you."
Fury reverses it for it.
He says, "In case you don't get it, ant, boot." Gesturing to Loki and then the button that will kill him, respectively. Yeah.
And man,
this is one of the conversations that I was saying.
Samuel L. Jackson.
He just seems 9 steps ahead.
Yeah.
He's like,
well, it didn't turn out well for him.
No.
But Samuel L. Jackson, I gotta say, a wonderful Nick Fury.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God.
He's the ultimate. Yeah.
He did such a great job.
You people don't understand what real power is. Well, let me know when real power wants a magazine.
That's it. I want to meet Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he was perfect. And then, okay, so the one thing I did have issue with Nick Fury in this movie was him firing a RPG at a aircraft that's holding a nuclear payload.
Oh, that's not actually a bad idea. A nuclear payload takes...
Oh, it needs to be triggered first. Yeah. Okay.
It needs to have an explosion sequence in order to trigger it. So if you blow that shit up first...
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It won't go off.
Right.
Okay. All right. Redacted. Note redacted.
Yeah. No, but I will say one of my complaints about S.H.I.E.L.D. in general, when Banner is brought to the helicarrier and he's like, "Hey, we need you to help us search for gamma radiation so we could find out the low levels that the space stone is spitting out." Okay, Bruce Banner literally starts rolling up his sleeves and then says, "I want you to take all of your dishes and aim them at the Earth and then look for gamma radiation." Well, thank you, Professor.
That should help you slim down what you're looking for.
We needed your expertise on that. And I gotta say, gamma radiation, there's no such expert. Gamma radiation is literally a range of frequency of radiation. So it's 10 to the 19th power. So that's the frequency of radiation you need to search for. That's it. So if you can make a machine that can design that, there's just a range in which you look for. You don't need an expert to distinguish if that's in that range or not.
Well, for the lowest common denominator that might watch this, it seems really impressive.
Yeah,
that
we
there's a
do
gamma
know
radiation
that Bruce
expert.
Banner turned into a green monster because of gamma radiation, so he's an expert.
He's an expert because it made him turn into
It messed him
green
up.
rage monster.
Yeah,
And since we're on the helicarrier and the introduction of... So they introduced all the characters together on the helicarrier, which was cool. Them basically like starting to being blended together.
yeah.
And when Tony's introduced, I love his... he's just Tony being Tony the whole time. You know,
Oh, yeah.
comes onto the scene and he's like snapping his fingers and talking about quantum physics or
He's
whatever.
not buying all their shit.
Yeah.
Nick Fury doesn't tell you a lot of things. He doesn't trust anything.
Yep. And he's putting a hacking or some sort of monitoring device on their computers and finding out whatever they can. And the blueberry scene too. First of all, did you know he snuck those blueberries on set? The scene
I
where
heard
they're
about that. Yeah.
So he was notorious for
He's eating
snacking all the time. Yeah.
Right.
And he brought those blueberries on the set, and Joss apparently liked that.
He's quirky. Yeah,
yeah.
he owns quirky.
Yep, he does, and he even offers Captain some
Right.
blueberries when they're being all super serious, and he doesn't
Right.
even acknowledge it, which is classic Captain. He's like, come on, Steve. None of this seems a little fishy to you.
When you pointed out that Galaga scene, in that scene, I just want to point out that there's that bald guy that was in a lot of follow-up movies, but that is later revealed to be a
The one,
SHIELD agent.
the one Hydra agent.
Yeah, he's wearing a suit and he's at a console in this helicarrier. This is his first introduction, as I'm aware, and he's in a lot of subsequent movies.
He was in Thor.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was in Thor. Remember?
right.
Yeah,
right,
they brought him
yeah.
back.
That's right. So yeah, but he's somehow. I mean, I don't know if he started out good or if he eventually got compromised, but he's eventually a SHIELD agent. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Hydra.
Hydra. Oh yeah,
I think he's probably been bad the whole time, but he
probably.
was in. You remember those Marvel one shots? They were like these web series that they did.
I didn't watch any of those.
No,
No.
the Coulson ones are really, really good,
Oh yeah.
and they're all less than. I think
Still
the
on
longest
YouTube?
one. Yeah, I think the longest one's like 15 minutes. But yeah, they do a really good job expanding those minor characters.
Heck
him
yeah.
and him included.
Heck yeah.
So they do some mending in this movie, talking about characters that weren't able to make it, like
Foster.
yeah, Jodie, not Jodie,
Meant, Jodie Foster. Jane Foster.
Jane Foster, yes, Thor's girlfriend. They got Papa Skarsgård, but they couldn't get
Yeah, she wasn't
Natalie
Portman.
Yep, Princess
Natalie Portman.
Padme.
You know what, Natalie Portman, you could be a sponsor. I'm a fan of yours.
She'd be a guest.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
I'll give you my address. You just.
I want to ask you about your PhDs.
God, you're so smart. I like you.
But I did like in this one, especially when the scene with Thor and Coulson, you can tell they've known each other for a little while. Coulson was introduced to in Tony's franchise, obviously, but he clearly gets along more, or at least it seems he gets along the most with Thor, just because they have
Yeah,
some experiential.
totally.
Seems pretty funny. He's talking about what I forget the creature that he's talking about. You don't have those?
Borscht.
Borschtlauk or something. He's
Yeah.
scaly skin, full big antlers. You don't have those?
Yeah.
But then Barton comes back with a vengeance and
when he
takes out their...
Yeah, he knows their whole inside networks, and he has the hacking arrow.
Yeah, he's got a hacking arrow. Yeah, exactly. But I did enjoy how much like the team had to come together. Like Tony had to fix the ship.
Yeah.
Him and Captain had to fix the ship to get things normal again.
Yeah.
Then he was able to join the fight.
It was a good. It wasn't like It was a good transition to coordination and working together.
Yeah, from being fragmented, just a scene before,
Right.
literally a scene before. Put on the suit, okay, and then a second later, put on the suit. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Joss Whedon definitely has a strong talent in making the chemistry between characters interact. Is great at finding aspects of a character that lead to another character's shortcomings, or something where they can combine and have a scene
and overcome it, or maybe conflict, or it's really, really good.
He's really good at intermixing characters, which I think is super valuable in this scene, or in this movie.
Like the scene with Black Widow and Hulk ready to transform. Oh my god! And the special effects they used for him running through solid objects, chasing her down. I literally got goosebumps watching that scene.
Right?
I can't imagine that.
So insane.
I can't imagine that kind of fear.
Right? Which is both.
It's insane.
Both from the fear of Scarlett Johansson as she's running from a.
It's like the disbelief mixed with imminent danger.
Yeah. Instant destruction behind her. Yeah. And then also the CGI display of the Hulk running almost unperturbed through very stationary, locked into their environment objects as he just plows through them.
Literally they don't even show him moving, pushing things aside in the scene. He's just running, moving forward.
And
things are getting out of the way for him.
Pow, pow.
Yeah. I mean,
a massive display of strength.
Yeah. And I love the speaking on to the whole everyone coming together and the diverse dynamic of their different upbringings and everything. Tony guiding Cap on how to fix
it seems to be working on some form of electricity.
I died.
Is one of my favorites of the whole.
So what are we looking at? Well, it seems to run some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong. That was so well executed. It's frantic. There's
Speak
shit going
English.
on. We need to make sure that the tunneling system is magnetic and at least speak English. Yeah, dude, you're talking to somebody.
Thing, pull that lever.
This guy was born in 1929. You're gonna need to be a little. It's great.
Such a great scene. It seems to be running on some form of electricity.
Just a bunch of red gobbledygooks and dials and all kinds of shit, digital shit. He doesn't know what the fuck that is. Oh god,
it's so good, and especially such a high tension scene.
It is.
It's just
brought down to the. I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at right now.
Oh man, it's priceless. That was so well written.
And another playing onto that well written part is when. After Barton and Widow tussle, and she knocks his ass into a fucking railing.
Yeah.
She's like, "Well, how did you get me out of it?" Oh, it was a cognitive. What did she say? Cognitive reset.
Yeah.
I hit you really hard in the head.
Right. Basically,
it's like the writers were like, "Yeah, well, you hit him really hard, so he's fine now." I did a cognitive reset. Yeah, okay. What do you mean by that? I just hit you really fucking hard. Oh, yeah, this movie is,
Yeah, it's so good. Oh, Coulson's.
Man, tears welling up.
Well, I mean, he's the only movie death that led to a whole series. I'm just saying.
That's true. No, it's true.
Because he died or not.
They were like, "So, just kidding, guys. Coulson gets his own TV show. He didn't actually die. It was good because we liked him a lot, and you just killed him, Joss Whedon."
Yeah,
in
which
typical
is totally,
Joss Whedon fashion.
Yeah. He takes a lot of loved characters from us.
Yeah.
Oh, but the scene where they shot
just a leaf on the wind. Oh, sorry. The scene where they shot
Thor out of the base of the helicarrier, where Loki was such an asshole, an extreme asshole, and then you get to see Chris Hemsworth's face when he's in the cage, confused, upset, seeing that he's now trapped and his brother is going to have a better footing against his friends.
Mm-hmm.
The expression that Chris Hemsworth shows is
like right before he hits the button.
Yeah. It's betrayed. It's worried. It's
disbelief and
it's so much,
and possibly fear. I mean,
Yeah.
like he said, they believe us immortal. Shall we test that?
right?
Fuck you, dude.
Right? Yeah, possibly fear, which is something that Thor probably has yet to face much
or
of.
if he has very, very little of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, you know what? I'll say this out to Chris Hemsworth. F you. I heard great story, great acting, but I heard that you were like, I don't like this character. I'm getting bored with it.
Saying it one-dimensional or something.
But but you got an opportunity in that scene there to show a god in distress.
Mm-hmm. A god.
That's not a common expression, and that scene, I'll say, it brings me, it makes me think of another MCU actor who plays Odin.
Oh,
Can't believe Anthony Hopkins.
thank you, Sir.
When he played
Anthony Hopkins.
Sir Anthony Hopkins. When he played in Westworld, and he was
Oh my god.
in the first season expressing to the previous park runner that her time is done, and that
Teresa.
and that he does indeed watch over everything. That scene was similar in my eyes to that just moment of expression in Chris Hemsworth, because in that scene, that was Anthony Hopkins being threatened by Teresa's character, and how his face expressed a whole range of emotions in reaction to that. That is similar to a god being threatened, like
what
happened to
Loki's
Thor.
saying he's gonna.
It wasn't the same expression. It was within a second of. That's what I got out of it.
It was a microsecond of like you said, all those disbelief, fear, betrayal.
Yeah. It was. I don't know how we got it all through in that expression, but he did.
And praise Joss Whedon for not even a second before that, the comedic portion of Thor falling through his hologram. Are you never not gonna fall for that?
Oh my God, Loki is so good. Loki's such a good nemesis.
Such an asshole.
Right?
Such an asshole.
Yeah, in so many ways, and I can't believe. Actually, I made a note about that. Like, Anakin Skywalker ignited his blade against a whole bunch of Jedi younglings. How does he get redeemed? But Loki, just this betrayal, this kind of asshole maneuvers of, I mean, he
killed Coulson.
Later on in the movie, he kills Coulson. Later on in the movie, Thor, on top of Stark Tower, gives Loki another chance.
Oh yeah, and he
then stabs him between the ribs.
Yeah.
He's such an asshole. He's so many layers of asshole.
It is great. Yeah, it is so great.
But he's redeemed.
Yep.
In Thor Ragnarok, he's shooting guns alongside his buddy Thor.
Yep.
Oh, bro.
And ultimately, Thor, I love that. I can't wait to review that one. I cannot wait to talk about that movie.
It's just so difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, praising Chris Hemsworth, like you said, he might have gotten tired of the quote unquote one dimensional.
That's what I'm saying.
But he got to open it up and become a what's the word I'm looking for?
Unanchored. He seems, because he destroyed.
You're able to make fun of yourself.
Humble.
Thank you. He becomes way more humble in Ragnarok, in my opinion. just overall as like a character.
Oh,
as
yeah,
a person,
for sure. Well,
way
again, I
more
haven't seen
humble.
Dark World, so I'm wondering if there's any kind
I'm
of
interested
step
to
downness
see.
from him from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely. I mean, he loses everything. So
Yeah.
I mean, to a degree that mortals can't comprehend. Probably, he's been alive 1,500 years.
Yep. And he's killed twice as enemies as that. Twice as many enemies as that.
Yeah, but I mean, so he's lost a father of 1,500 years. I don't know that anybody can conceive of knowing anybody for that long, or a brother for that long.
In defense of feelings, I would say that if you had that much time, you'd probably be able to get over a lot of shit.
Which he does.
He definitely does.
Well,
In a good way.
it took him a while. He goes through some grieving processes with Fat Thor.
Yeah. That's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, for an excellent story.
An excellent
For another
story.
time,
For
which never gets answered in the Star Wars universe.
No.
You, Star Wars.
It's hey.
Fuck you, Star.
If you look at it as an epic,
Fuck you,
hey,
Star.
if you look at it as an epic, the whole series as a whole, one could make the argument that as an epic, it is a good tale.
1 through 6, yes.
1 through 9.
Nah, I don't know about that.
As an epic.
There's nothing that 7 through 9
A
adds
story,
to the story.
a story for another time.
Okay.
So, skipping ahead quite a bit, let's talk about the final battle before, because we are getting close to wrap up time.
Oh, dang.
We talked.
The final
quite a
battle
bit.
is brilliant.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really great.
No,
The only issue I took with it that I took a note about was and I get it, it's a comic book movie, but Romanov is a regular person.
Yeah.
We need to get up there. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then he flings her off of his
She's got
shield,
balls.
and she grabs something moving probably upwards of 60, I'm guessing 60
At
to
least.
130
least.
miles an hour.
At least. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm no physics major,
But that'll break
but
something.
I'm pretty sure shoulder dislocated, if not arm removal,
Yeah,
depending on the
yeah.
speed.
Yeah.
But for the sake
Comic
of
book.
comic book movie,
Yeah.
really cool. Tony's mention of, you remember the Tale of Jonah?
Yeah.
When he's talking to
Flying
Jarvis,
through the-
I don't think he's a role model, sir.
Oh, man. Jarvis is so good.
Specifically, that part, that
Yeah.
scene I love the most. His kneecaps have
Little missiles.
little missile
Yeah.
gunship drop pods,
Yeah.
which was so cool.
You gotta have that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, right?
And the laser is like, we will run out of power before we pierce the armor.
Yeah.
So, and he immediately stops. He's like, all right. Ever heard the Tale of Jonah?
Tony Stark is so good, and this movie is no exception. Every movie that Tony Stark is in, his suits of armor has learned from his last experience
yeah.
and maximized on being able to 110% be able to beat the fuck out of that.
Yeah,
which
I love
is great.
it. You see it in every. You're right. You see it in every movie.
Every movie.
There's an increase in thought process behind what he'd faced before versus what he's going to face.
Yeah, in this movie, you get to see. Oh yeah.
The Mark 6 or something. Or,
I'm not sure
I
of the
don't remember
model,
number,
but
yeah.
the first thing you see is when Thor. And they don't even point it out. They don't blatantly point it out. But Thor shoots lightning at Iron Man, and he's able to absorb it, and that's because of Iron Man 2. When Vanko had hit him with the.
Oh, you're right.
It overloaded his system.
And then in Endgame, it's the ultimate where he has those nanobots come out and remember?
Yeah.
Thor fucking lightning strikes his whole armor and he uses that to blast.
Yeah, absolutely. Learn from that
Love
and
these
adds
movies.
it as a plus to his armor.
Fucking love these movies.
Right?
Oh my god.
Endlessly
The
are they
detail.
entertaining.
Okay, so more. I got a lot more notes about the
Roll
final battle.
through them, son.
So the cop, the New York cop. He's like, we got people in the building,
Oh my
blah, blah,
God.
blah, and they're all
Why
freaking
should
out.
we listen to you?
Yeah. Yeah. He kicks some ass. He like punches like 3 or 4 Chitauri, blasts like does a reflecting blast with the shield, and then immediately says, "Oh, all right, I need people down on 39th. I'm going to need at least a 6-hour block radius. I need people off the streets. He immediately starts taking orders from Captain America as soon as he sees him kick some ass.
Yeah, rolls out his exact commands.
Oh, that scene was so good. And
that's like the city. That's like, in my opinion, that's the people of the world aligning with the Avengers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's a lot of metaphors which Joss Whedon expertly...
The waitress...
Absolutely.
The whole waitress,
Absolutely.
like super tiny sub arc, tiny storyline.
Absolutely.
Captain America saved my life.
Right, but it adds the texture to the story that makes it impact your emotions so much more. It
grounds it.
Yeah. Joss Whedon, no doubt, has an unbelievable talent, and I feel bad for how he was tossed into DC. I've heard rumors recently that DC is about to be purchased by Marvel. Have you heard about that?
Are you kidding me? By Disney?
I've heard. Is that inconceivable?
It's not. No.
No, it's not. And Disney's like, oh, I could have more fucking comic book characters. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
I don't know, man.
It's gonna be a problem.
Long as
I even saw a YouTube video last night about how Bob Iger dreams of running for president. What?
Oh God!
Eyebrows lower in
2024 because he ain't running this year.
Yeah, he wants to wait.
Why did he step down? That's a story for another time.
A story for another time. Actually, I've heard a little bit about that.
Let's wrap up this great movie, The Avengers. So a couple more things. I loved Hulk smashing through the flying lines, like the pattern, the lines that Hawkeye called out. Him literally smashing through. So he smashes through one and is surprised by it. And in the same motion of him flying through, he turns around and punches one because he's got just enough time while he's banking through him. And then Thor using the Chrysler building as a mega harness to bottleneck the thing.
Gather some lightning.
And then the crazy emotional Tony going into space. So
also, we didn't have mentioned at all the council here. The council.
Yeah, what the fuck is the council?
The council, something that S.H.I.E.L.D. has to answer to.
Yeah. What?
And S.H.I.E.L.D. answers to, but also defies, because we see that.
Considering it's a stupid ass decision, I've decided to ignore it.
He straight up runs out and rockets and shoots the first jet, but a second jet was already on its way.
So happens to be on its way.
So that also implies that, I mean,
they can supersede his orders,
right? So that they have some other communicator in their organization
their individual
that is
jet pilots
telling
apparently.
pilots, do this now, right now.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Forget your moral code.
Right.
Go kill millions of people
on New York.
Yeah, go kill millions, literally millions, in an instant, and feel good about it tomorrow, fucker.
Yeah. But and they're defied, and happily so. I mean but we never see any end of them, do we?
I think Hydra. I believe, and I could be mistaken, but I believe Robert Redford is one of the council members, and doesn't Scarlett Johansson play one of the council members too, like where she wears the mask or something like that?
Oh, I haven't.
As a lady council member. Anyway,
I think
I think they show up to initiate the project to kill everyone or whatever it was in Civil War.
Ah, yeah. Ooh.
But
spoilers.
The super emotional ending of Tony taking the nuke up through the portal.
Priceless.
And so what I really liked...
That's him laying on the wire, crawling over the...
Yep, crawling over the wire, letting the other guy crawl over you. So I loved They do it in multiple movies, or they've done it... They did it in Infinity... No, they did it in Endgame, but Tony's first view into space is this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees an imminent threat. That's the first thing he sees. Later in Endgame, Steve, they show his eyes, and it's the close-up of just the eyes from the side. They show Steve's eyes in wonderment. So the first time they show both characters entering space, Tony, which is what explains part of his character arc. Here, wait, you'll see it. They'll show it. No, what? The lights go out, and it's his slits. The only thing he sees out of it is his slits. And he's got a look of fear. Super fear. So maybe we'll recall it when we watch Endgame, but in Endgame they show
a close-up of Captain
Steve, and it's wonderment. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
dude from the 40s
Yeah.
going to another fucking planet.
Who hasn't been to space? Raise your hand.
Yeah. I don't see why that's relevant. Don't puke on my spaceship. Yeah, and then he passes out and
Yeah.
then falls through the hole and
Oh man, I love Steve Rogers. I'd
yeah.
marry that guy.
Yeah.
I'd have his kids.
His whole like telling like, hey, all right, Tony's up top. He's gonna be calling
Yeah.
out. Hawkeye's gonna be calling out patterns. Thor, you got the lightning. Bottleneck him up in the thing. And Hulk, smash. Like
Yeah,
that whole
so
is
perfect.
perfect, man. He's
Da, 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 da,
group
da,
shots.
da.
They do the fucking telephoto.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh man.
Thank you, Joss.
Thank you, Joss. And thank you for Ultron. I wish you were doing more movies in the Marvel Universe.
Really, dude.
But I'm not gonna lie, Dan. I really have to use the bathroom, so we can continue to talk about how awesome the Hulk is and how great it was that he saved him, and he saved him twice. In my opinion, he saves him twice. So he grabs him from the building from falling, and then wakes his ass up, restarts his heart with yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
And then Tony mentions shawarma,
Yeah.
and
Hey,
the
for shit, have it.
yep.
The end
So
credits.
the end credits is a dude talking to Thanos about how the humans aren't the sniveling wretches they once thought they were, and they can't be ruled. And then a side scroll of Thanos turning and smiling. Then you get the great scene of them eating shawarma. And I actually heard Chris Evans, the reason he's doing this the whole time is he grew a mustache for a different role, and this was like maybe. I think I heard this was filmed like maybe a couple weeks before the release of the actual movie.
Right.
So they filmed them eating shawarma, and he's sitting there with his fist over his
Hiding
mustache the whole time. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Well, that was the Avengers, and I really like that one. That one's probably one of my favorites.
Number 6 done.
Number 6 is done. The next one is called Iron Man 3, wrapping up Iron Man's trilogy. That one came out a year later in 2013, directed by Shane Black.
The 10 Rings.
The 10 Rings with Sir. I got a piece so bad I can't remember his name right now.
I can't remember it either.
The guy.
We'll remember
Mandarin.
next time.
We'll remember next time. A story for another time. I'm Dan S. as in science.
And I'm Dan F. as in fictional.
And thank you for joining us. I have to pee so bad.
That's...